Welcome back to a brand new week here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. It's the Desmond Johnson Show. It is Tuesday. We got a loaded week for you guys. Kicking it off, some heavy hitters. Bynum from the Tar Heel Tribune, Conor Oneill from Devils, and Deacon Illustrated will help us figure out the ACC. Loaded hoop slate this weekend. The ACC apparently appears to be back in college basketball, so we'll chop that up a little bit later on. Ben Troupe and Ryan Smith, the host of Winning the Division over on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, they'll come in and chop up the NFC or the NFL playoffs. Wild card weekend. We'll get you set up for the divisional round as well. It's another loaded episode here on the Desmond Johnson Show. Let's go ahead and roll that intro.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
Yeah, welcome to the Carolinas. Everywhere you go, the sky is Carolina blue, the finest. Live action, feedback, the city need that. I've been number one, no cap. Here's the recap. Adrenaline is my addiction. I'm about to relapse. Step on the turf if you want and get your weed whack. I'm going harder than a martyr on the slaughter end. It's the heart of man, that's a rap like a cardigan. I'm breaking records, it's fourth and inches, I count the seconds. The over-under's my roar of thunder, my secret weapon. Yeah, the game is to be told. I don't break, I break modes. Follow me on Tobacco Road.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
And welcome into the Desmond Johnson Show, a Tuesday edition here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson. You can follow us, rate, and subscribe over at youtube.com/at Tobacco Road Sports Radio. And of course, you get the best of the week of the Desmond Johnson Show every Friday on terrestrial radio here in the Triad of North Carolina, WWBG 1470 AM in Greensboro, and WTOB 980 AM, 96.7 FM at 6 p.m. on Fridays. Bynum from the Tar Heel Tribune in the house, Conor Oneill from Devils and Deacons Illustrated in the house. And I wanted to talk a little ACC hoops action with them. No games really of the teams I'm wanting to look at tonight, but tomorrow you got a doubleheader on ACC Network. 6th-ranked Duke taking on Cal at 11 o'clock Wednesday. That's out at Cal, so you got a late tip-off for that. Starting off with you, Conor. I was watching Duke the other day, and I was looking at in terms of clearly Carlos Boozer, not Carlos Boozer, but Cam Boozer. He's their alpha dog. But unlike last year where you had Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, Sion James, you had a bunch of different options. And I'm seeing Isaiah Evans seems to be the guy that's going to be the second scorer, but even he's kind of off and on at times. What player on this roster do you think right now, as we really pass the quarter pole mark here, what player do you think needs to step up for Coach John Shire in order for this Duke team to be a legit Final Four team like last year's team?
I think it's Isaiah. I think it's also Caleb Foster. We saw him, they had 3 guys score over 20 or at least 20 at Louisville. That's their best ACC win so far on the road. Mm-hmm. And Cam Boozer had 27, and it just kind of felt like, okay, Cam Boozer with 27 on 10 of 12 shooting, he's giving you efficient scoring and rebounding every single night. Isaiah Evans can heat up and get hot. We've seen it now for a year and a half. Caleb Foster scored 20 in that game. It was a career high for him. He's a junior. I think it was his 80th career game, and his previous career high came in his 3rd career game. So he's been off and on. When he is driving downhill, playing off 2 feet and putting 2 feet in the paint and making the right decision, it just makes their offense that much more dynamic. It gives them an option that they don't otherwise have. And I think that's the one that I look at and say, if he can give them that, if Isaiah Evans makes 3 or 4 threes a game and doesn't take 15 to get those, and if Cam Boozer just kind of keeps playing at the level that he has been playing at pretty much the entire season, this is going to be a team that is at least comes close to its ceiling.
I saw someone made a post on X and basically said that Cam Boozer reminds them of a more athletic Tyler Hansbrough. And ever since then, they were like, they can't get it out of their head. I guess it's because he's not fluid. He can get to a spot. He just kind of puts his head down and just kind of goes. He can shoot threes. Tyler can shoot threes too. But in today's college basketball world, it's a little bit more accepted for him to step out there and shoot it. But every time I see him now, when I see it, I have that image in my head. I'm like, yeah, I kind of see it. I kind of see what they're talking about there. Is Cam Boozer the number 1 pick in your eyes in the draft? coming up here, or is there somebody else that?
I would take AJ Devonta first. That guy is a freak of nature. The thing I love, I'm not saying Cam Boozer doesn't play hard every single possession, but the little bit that I've watched of BYU, it's one thing to be the most talented player on the court, but when you're the most talented player on the court and you're also the hardest playing player on the court, I think that's the player that you kind of hitch your wagon to if you win the lottery and get that number 1 overall.
I'm still hitching my wagon to Caleb Wilson right now, even though Carolina apparently forgot he was on the team the second half of the game that they played on Saturday, and I think he only got like 2 shots or something like that, RL, like the whole second half, even though he had already reached 20-plus points in the first half. He was already at a double-double. Carolina's going to be taking on Stanford 9 p.m. tomorrow on Wednesday, first part of that ACC doubleheader. One of the conversations I was having, of course, we started doing Believe in Hills Hoops for Believe, myself, former Hills Hooper PJ Harrison, and UNC six-man BDOT. And one of the things that's come up over the past couple of weeks, RL, I've been trying to figure out a way to get Derek Dixon into the starting lineup. And through no fault of Kyan Evans, because he really hasn't played poorly, but I feel like they would be better off with Dixon starting. Do you feel like Kyan Evans has earned the role to be the starting point guard going forward for the Carolina Tar Heels, or do you look at Derek Dixon and go, that's interesting if they swap that out? Do you even think that's a possibility?
And it seems logical to put Dixon in there because Kyan Evans really he doesn't create too much. The big advantage for Kyan is he came in with the reputation as a really prolific 3-point shooter, and we've seen that maybe 1 or 2 games, and it's not been consistent. And gets us better defensively, but there's a bigger issue figuring out what their identity is in the backcourt. Because you look at the last 3 minutes against Wake Forest, neither Dixon or Evans were in the game. It was Trimble at point, and it was kind of weird to see. And Jonathan Powell was in there. Jaden Young was in there. That's who Hubert went with in the last 3 minutes. So it's really the problem is, as much as Elliot Cadeau was criticized last season, and for a lot of good reasons, they'd be better off if he had stayed, because they really don't have a point guard, and Hubert's just trying to figure it out. But to answer your question, I think Dixon would be the better option there. As good as Seth Trimble is at driving and creating things, he's not a point guard.
Especially in the traditional Carolina sense. And that was one of the things we were looking at, where Derek Dixon seems like one of those guys. It almost feels like Hubert's kind of figured out how he wants to recruit going forward. He'll get that 1 5-star kid. He'll get 2 3 guys that are going to be 3-year, 4-year Carolina guys. And that's Derek Dixon. That's Jonathan Powell type, those guys. They're going to kind of be around for that. And then he's going to bring in transfers that fit what he wants to do. We saw it 2 years ago with Harrison Ingram and Cormac Ryan coming in that group. And now we're seeing it this year with the guys that he brought in, where he basically cleared out the whole roster except for 3 spots that returned and rebuilt it from scratch pretty much. And we're kind of seeing that now. I do agree with you that they doesn't seem like they really have a point guard in the traditional UNC sense. The Ty Lawson, even the Marcus Page type, those are 2 different types of point guards I just described, but they both fit the mold of Carolina. I think Dixon kind of fits it better. Kyan Evans feels like he's kind of almost shy to pull the trigger sometimes in terms of shooting. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Conor, Oneill, and RL Bynum in the house with us here on the Desmond Johnson Show, a Tuesday edition. There's 5 ACC teams ranked this week, guys. The 2 we just mentioned, Carolina's at 14, Duke is at 6. Clemson enters the poll this week at number 22. Virginia's at 16, and Louisville, who's had to go through it, Mr. Mikel Brown with the back injury. They did win the other night, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they're 3-2 since he went out, and they're still in the top 25 at number 20, but holding on with 4 losses. Is there an ACC team outside of Carolina, Duke, and Louisville when they're healthy? I'll put them that way, because I think Louisville is going to be in that top 3. Is there another ACC team you're keeping your eye on in terms of being able to push into like the top 4 of the ACC by the time we get to the end of the season that we might not be talking about or paying attention to a whole lot right now currently?
No, Virginia's right there. I love everything about Virginia's roster. I've been a fan of Ryan Odom since before the big upset in 2018 against Virginia, ironically. But man, he knows what he's doing. Obviously, the son of a coach, came up pretty much knowing he wanted to coach. The roster he has in Virginia is great. I mean, he's got 2 legitimate centers. They both do a little bit of different things. Like one's a European big from Germany. The other one's a big shot blocker who spent time at Kentucky, Ugana Onyenso. They have a star with Tice DeRitter. They have high scoring guards with Malik Thomas and Ja'Cory White, who I think comes back tonight from a broken wrist that's cost him a few weeks. Just everything about Virginia's roster seems to fit. Everything about the style of play, how different it is from Tony Bennett ball. Like they score 80 points now, and it kind of seems natural.
It's weird. Yeah, it's really weird to see Virginia team slot in 80 points. Like it's
yeah, they want to play fast and they want to shoot threes, and it's very much different. Makes you think Isaac McNeely should have stayed. He could have gotten all the shots that he wanted. But he's probably making a lot more money at Louisville. But
probably,
I think that Virginia team is probably going to be. I would even put them ahead of Louisville right now. I think they're either the second or third best team in the ACC right now.
What say you, RL? Is there a team outside of those 3 that you're kind of keeping an eye on that might sneak up into this top 4 before it's all said and done?
No, I was going to say Virginia as well. I was down in Austin to cover the Carolina women and got there a day early and saw Virginia just blow the doors off of Texas. And just seeing it in person, like you said, it's really odd after getting used to the Tony Bennett Virginia. But they were so prolific from 3-point range. They couldn't miss on that particular night, and they just dominated. And that really made an impression. And I'll be interested in seeing how they match up against Duke and some of the top teams in the league. I think they'll be able to hold their own.
Bonus question before I get you guys out of here. Conor Oneill from Devils and Deacons Illustrated and RL Bynum from the Tar Heel Tribune. Not college basketball, college football. I'm pretty much asking every guest their opinion on the national championship on this upcoming Monday, January the 19th. It is I guess you could say a former blue blood royalty college football team in Miami taking on Indiana, who has captured the nation's hearts as a bunch of scrappy 3-star kids that all came together to beat the brakes off of everybody they come across. There's so many different storylines here in this game. Who do you want to win the national championship on Monday? That's probably a better way to put it.
Oh my God, RL, please go first.
I want Miami to win for the ACC. Go. There's no doubt about it. That would be so helpful for the ACC. They are very impressive on the offensive and defensive line. They're so physical, and I don't know if Indiana has faced a team quite like that, but I don't think Miami's going to beat Indiana. Indiana is so good. The way they've gone through the playoffs, it's going to. Miami is going to have to play a clean game. They can't give Indiana anything because they'll take advantage of it. If Miami plays a perfect game, it's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen.
This is a crazy world where Miami needs to play a perfect game in order to beat Indiana to win the national championship in football, but that's where we are in 2026. Conor, who do you want to win the national championship? Let's start with there.
I guess it's Miami. I see, as an Elon alum, I don't have the greatest opinion of Kirk Signetti.
There it is.
I've been very verbal about that on social media.
Wait, why don't you like Kirk Signetti? Is it because of him leaving, or
it is tied to him leaving? It's not the whole story. The whole story is probably too long for me to tell on with the time we've got.
It's another day. Yeah. We'll definitely got to get to that. Yeah.
Just do not like him as a person. And so I'm not a fan of Miami. Like, I understand the benefits of the ACC. The ACC won't get the financial benefit of Miami winning like it would have pre-negotiated. What's the word on the incentive deals? Because
you're right.
Florida State stomped their feet and wanted all of the money to themselves, and they wound up making it so Miami could get all the money. But yeah, I guess just for the narrative, I mean, the ACC football has been so downtrodden, especially even this year. It was supposed to be apocalypse now for the league like 5 or 6 weeks ago when Duke won the ACC and that meant they weren't going to have a team in the CFP, and now all of a sudden they have a team that's 60 minutes away from winning a national championship. So I guess I'd latch onto that as the storyline that I'd be rooting for, but I'd also be rooting against Kirk Cignetti as much as I'd be rooting for Miami.
Wow.
I think I'm rooting for Miami just because I was a fan of those early 2000 Hurricane teams with all the pros on them, 01, 02, 03. This is not that. This is not that Miami. That beast was something completely different that can probably never be duplicated in today's college football with everything going on, unless you've got $1 billion you can throw in NIL. But I haven't sat down and really watched fully a Indiana game this year. I've only seen them in chunks, but I just see the aftermath, like the next day, where it's like they beat who by how much? Literally going through it. And at this point, they're 14-0 or whatever. Look at who they've beaten: Ohio State twice, Alabama. They ran through them, Oregon twice. So it's like they've beaten all these teams. It's just like Kurt Cinetti came from the Nick Saban family tree in terms of the coaching tree or whatever. All four of the coaches in the Final Four did. Mario Cristobal came from that same tree as well. So it should be good, but I want to ask each of my guests, regardless of what they're on the show for this week, their thoughts on this, because it feels like the nation's kind of not wanting to put all their eggs in the Indiana basket. Like they don't want it snatched away from them at the last second. Like that was a crazy fever dream or whatever. But sometimes, man, football is just football. Like if you get a group of kids together to just want to play with each other, and a lot of these kids apparently came from James Madison with Cignetti, who knows, man? Anything can happen. We might be crowning the Indiana Hoosiers the 2026 college football national champions by this time next week. So go follow these guys on X for the latest. I know RL's catching a plane to head out west. I think you said tomorrow morning, right? Tomorrow morning you're heading out there. So you'll be covering the Carolina Cal game or Carolina Stanford game. And of course, Conor will be covering number 6 Duke taking on Cal. So thanks for you guys for coming through, and we'll catch up with you guys later on in the season.
All right. Thanks, Desmond.
There they go. That's RL Bynum, and that's Conor Oneill. Bringing on to the show now, we got Ryan Smith and Ben Troupe, former NFL tight end. They are both from Winning the Division here on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network and Fans First Sports Network. And I wanted to bring them in because now our divisional round is set in the NFL, and we got some stories to talk about before we get to that. Guys, we're just going to dive right in head first into the swimming pool here. The Steelers, they fall last night to the Houston Texans 30-6. Made NFL history last night. It's kind of crazy I'm about to say this out loud, but they are the first NFL team ever to lose 5 straight playoff games by double digits. Do you keep head coach Mike Tomlin? And I'm just going to throw y'all on the fryer. The very first question. Ryan, you go first.
I was just thinking about this same topic earlier today, and I think Tomlin is going to do one of two things. I don't think the Rooneys will fire him. I just don't think that will ever be them. That's not how they act as an organization. They've had 5 coaches since the 1970s. That's not going to happen. He's either going to go to radio/TV if he kind of views, this is a hard reset coming, a factory reset, if you will, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Tomlin views that's the best situation for him, that's what he'll do. Otherwise, I expect him fully coaching next year in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh?
Yep.
Ben, what are your thoughts? Because you don't just throw him away, right?
I think I do agree with what Smitty said. I don't think the Rooney's are going to get rid of him, but I don't think that's a good thing either. Because here's the thing about how many times are we going to say he's never had a losing season? We're talking about the regular season, yeah. But you don't play for the regular season; you play for the postseason. And his postseason resume is not that. 2 things he's not going to do: he's not going to win in the postseason, and he don't know how to pick a quarterback. You're not going to win consistently in the NFL without picking a quarterback. No, he's not going to walk away. I do think he'll be back because I think the Rooneys see his success differently than we do as the viewing public. The problem is the perception of Mike Tomlin is not the reality of Mike Tomlin, and I just think that's going to be much. It's going to be much of the same come 2026 because he's going to try to find another Asian quarterback or a quarterback that he respects, but not a quarterback that can win. They won the division this year because Lamar Jackson, the company, got hurt. I don't see that being the case. I mean, I know that Aaron Rodgers had a lot of glowing things to say about him. If all the quarterbacks you could pick, you pick the quarterback that beat you in the Super Bowl back in 2011. 2011, most of these guys on your team right now was still in Grade school. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
middle school.
Crazy.
That's a really good point. Actually, I didn't even think of. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. Speaking of Father Time, my Aaron Rodgers up at the podium last night. Then non-committal. Of course, we all expected that to happen. But deep down in your heart, do you think Aaron Rodgers has played his last NFL game, Ryan?
I think he has with the Steelers. I think part of me, I think yes, he has. Just because who else is going to really bring him in at this point? To be quite honest with you, I think Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't want to go out like that, but at the same time, he did kind of hint that he wanted this was probably going to be his last year. So I'm not going to say definitively yes, but I could say it's probably a good possibility that he has played his last year.
Ben, you think A-Rod's done with his playing career?
Yes, A-Rod is done with his playing career for this reason. The once again, the respect that he has in the league is great, but I'm gonna keep on saying this. Michael Jordan played for the Wizards, right? You messing with your legacy right now, A-Rod. I get what you did, but you played for the Jets. Now you playing for the Steelers, and it's not looking good. Look,
yeah,
I was born in '82. Aaron Rodgers was born in '83. I mean, I'm rocking, but I'm just he's gonna make plenty of money in somebody's booth. And he's probably going to be hard to deal with because all they're going to do is just bow down to everything he said because he's Ron. So come on over here to the media side.
You got me feeling old. I was born in '78. My 78, my 48.
Hey, you ain't old. You ain't old. You seasoned. We just listen. We just a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah, I'm just a little more seasoned, more vintage. My birthday's coming up here on Monday, so I will be the big 48. Got Ben Troupe and Ryan Smith in the house. They are the host of Winning the Division. Brand new episode actually will drop here in probably about an hour here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube channel for the week. So they'll get you more in depth ready for the divisional round. More disappointing season. And I'm gonna give you three: the Steelers, the Eagles, or the Cincinnati Bengals. And because each of them have a little story behind all three of them.
I was gonna say there's a storyline behind all three of those. Joe Burrow's been hurt the last few years, so that's not necessarily surprising. The Steelers, we already hashed out Mike Tomlin. So I'm going to say the Eagles because they're the defending champs. You saw the turmoil, whether it was A.J. Brown and Sirianni going back and forth, whether it was Big Dom and the security and stuff on the sideline, even though he did catch a ball last night. So Dom is 1 for 1 on his targets during the NFL playoffs. But no, it's definitely the Eagles because this team was not expected to go out in the wild card round in a lot of people's eyes. And they're a team that I think is going to look really different next year. I don't think Nick Sirianni is going to lose his job, but I do expect some staff changes within. And this team, with their 5 All-Pros at this point, I don't expect A.J. Brown to be on the team next year either. And they're going to look pretty different in 2026.
Ben, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, it's the Eagles by far. I mean, regardless of what didn't happen in the regular season, this is what you had. Saquon wasn't himself. He's still Saquon. Yes, you got AJ. Yes, you got Devonta Smith. Yes, you got Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean and Jalen Carter. Both of your cornerbacks are first-team All-Pros. Cooper DeJean and freaking – so I just think that the thing about the Eagles, though, the Eagles tried to win in 2025 how they did in 2024. They didn't adjust anything. We're going to win the same way.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so it's the Eagles for a lot of reasons. Nick Sirianni can say whatever you want to say. All that demonstrative running down the sideline, telling people to get out of the field, and after the game say, we love each other. No, you love him. He never said he loves you. No, you love him, Siri. He never said that. And the Eagles, I mean, I know they won a Super Bowl, and I know people, but the thing that Shannon Sharp said that I agree with, I'm not going to accept things in a win I wouldn't accept in a loss. They won a lot of games, but they weren't playing well. And I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts, he had 90-some yards passing in the second half. It's the Eagles by a mile because why we keep putting stuff on Cincinnati? We need to get past the Super Bowl year. It's Cincinnati. We need to stop this. We really need to stop this, Smitty. Stop this, Des. It's Cincinnati. I get Joe Burrow. It's all world. This is not 2019 LSU. They went to a Super Bowl with the worst offensive line in NFL history. We need to get past it. The only difference in Cincinnati and Cleveland is the colors and the location. They're not that different of an organization. We need to stop this, people. Love Cincinnati, but come on, man. Listen, it's because we love Chad Johnson and he got the show nightcap. Stop it. Just stop with this Cincinnati stuff.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention shout out to my family in Cleveland. I don't know if you guys have been following the news or saw, but one of their substation power plants blew up in the middle of the night over the west side of Cleveland, leaving a bunch of people without power. Had something to do with some toxic stuff that was being stored there or something. The video is all over Twitter and Reddit and stuff right now from last night, but it's a gigantic explosion on the west side of Cleveland from yesterday. My family, we checked on all of them. They seem to be okay. My in-laws live up in Cleveland, so I wanted to make sure that we talked about that my thoughts are with them up in Cleveland. Let's play real quick before I get you guys out of here. And you can get more in-depth analysis about the divisional round from Winning Division's upcoming episode that'll drop today. It'll drop in about an hour or so on the YouTube channel and across our audio podcast platform. So you can find it on Spotify or iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you go to get your pods. Divisional round, who do you trust? 49ers, Seahawks, Saturday, 8 p.m. on Fox. Out of those two teams, which one do you trust more to advance to the next round? 49ers or the Seahawks have been sitting on a bye?
Well, I will say this has been Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job by far. They should not be still in these playoffs with all these injuries that they've had.
I think he's coach of the year. I think he's the coach of the year.
But Seattle, I think, is going to move on because at some point you can't just keep losing players. I lost George Kittle to torn Achilles the other day. So you can't keep losing players and expect it not to affect you in the playoffs eventually. And they're going up against a much better defense than Seattle than they were against Philly. And not to say Philly doesn't have a good defense, because they do, but Seattle's is just very dominant, and they're playing at home, and I expect Seattle to win that game.
I'm going to go back and forth with you guys. Who do you trust, Ben? LA Rams at the Chicago Bears, the 2-seed Chicago Bears. That's a Sunday night game, 6:30 p.m. on NBC and Peacock. Who do you trust to advance to the next round between the Rams and the Bears?
I trust the Rams. I think the thing about the Chicago team that people keep not noticing is they keep on having to come back in all these games, and it's been working, right? Well, it's easy to come back against a team that you understand and very familiar with. When you talk about the Green Bay Packers, I mean, 21-3, no Michael Parsons, you choked. I get it. They come back and get a big win. The thing about this Rams team is the Rams got the best possible scenario when you talk about how Carolina played them. They brought out the best in them. I'm going to go with the former number 1 overall pick of Matthew Stafford over Caleb Williams. I like what Caleb Williams is and what he's doing right now. But Sean McVay, he says, look, we're going to save our best. They say that hot weather teams can't win and cold weather teams, they say that West Coast teams can't win. When they come east, can a guy like Matthew Stafford go out there and get it done? I trust the Rams because they're usual suspects. Since Chicago ain't been here in a while. They know nothing about this. They happy to be in the next round, and both of these games was thrilling, came down to the fourth quarter. But I trust the Rams to move on. Devontae Adams is probably going to have more of a role. Puka Nacua, but as long as you got Matthew Stafford and you got that four-headed monster at tight end, they got a shot to be in it. I trust the Rams.
Ben Troupe and Ryan Smith joining us here on the Desmond Johnson Show. They are the host of Winning the Division, NFL Roundtable discussion every week. The pod, you can find it on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, the YouTube channel, and just search Winning the Division on the Fans First Sports Network and the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. Ryan, you are up. Buffalo Bills at Denver Broncos, 4:30 p.m. Saturday on CBS and Paramount Plus. Who do you trust between the Bills and the Broncos to advance to the next round?
Give me the Bills. Broncos are inconsistent this season, especially on the offensive side of the football. Their defense is very, very good, but it is not Seattle or the Houston Texans. I know Ben will get to that one, but give me the Bills to advance and host. Go on the road to either Houston or New England for the AFC Championship.
Me and Jonathan Stewart picked Buffalo to come out of the AFC back in August. Of course, we had them taking on the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game. I think we had the Niners in the NFC, actually, so it's kind of weird how this is all playing out. Ben, you're going to round us up here. Actually, I got a bonus question for you guys after that, and then I'll get you guys out. Houston Texans at New England Patriots, the 2-seed, 3 p.m. Sunday on NBC and Peacock. Who do you trust to move on to the conference championship, the Houston Texans or the New England Patriots?
I trust the Houston Texans defense. I trust the New England Patriots team. So I'm gonna go with New England because I don't know what was going on with C.J. Stroud last night. I know he hasn't played a lot of football, being hurt this year, but he's going to get exposed a lot. And he got to do the thing that he had to do he had to do back-to-back weeks he hasn't done in a long time. He got to go outside in the cold to try to go out there and deal with New England. I love Danielle Hunter. Will Anderson and that defense, but I just trust New England Patriots as a team. Give me New England to move on to the AFC Championship.
Bonus round of Who Do You Trust? The national championship in college football is Monday, January 19th, which is actually my birthday. The 10th seed Miami Hurricanes taking on the 1 seed and America's sweethearts, the Indiana Hoosiers, who have taken the world by storm. It's a bunch of 2- and 3-star kids basically just taking on the world, going up against a Miami Hurricanes team that's been a dormant blue blood for 20 years. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game. Who do you trust? And this is open for both of you. Do you trust Miami or do you trust Indiana to be the college football national champion for 2026? Both teams, by the way, I don't think anybody had on their FanDuel ballot back in August to win the national championship in football. But between them, who do you trust?
I'll go first. Ben, I'll let you kind of get more analysis than I'm going to give here. But Indiana is just so impressive on both sides of the ball. Play hard. They play physical. I do think, listening to a little bit of the previous segment with RL and Conor, I don't think that Indiana has seen a defense like Miami, fast as physical as Miami is. So I do think they're going to have a little bit of an adjustment to make during the game throughout. Ruben Bade is a very scary player. But I do think Indiana will come on top by about a touchdown in this game, something like 27-20 or 31-24, something like that. So I do expect Indiana to win the national championship, but I do think Miami is going to be in this game. And I would not be surprised if Miami wins it if they play a perfect game. I don't expect that, though. And so I give me Indiana to win the national championship.
You're actually the second person, because I think RL said the same thing about how Miami having to play a perfect game to beat Indiana, which is insanity. I mean, in 2026, right?
Yeah.
Miami's got to play the perfect game to beat this Indiana squad. It's like, where are we? Like, what alternate timeline are we on? Ben, who do you trust? Miami, the Hurricanes, the Canes, are they back? Or Curt Cignetti's Fighting Hoosiers of Indiana? I think I just made that up, Fighting Hoosiers.
In any other year, I would trust the Miami Hurricanes. But here's the thing about the Indiana team. Their average age is 23 years old. These are grown men, 23, 24, 25 years old. And we talking about guys that have been in college a long time, right? The reason why I trust Indiana is they have nothing to lose. If they do lose, people are going to say they're Indiana. But if they win, they're going to reshape college football. And Indiana knows this. We don't have a window. We have a moment. We might not be back ever again because of how all these things. Fernando Mendoza, I think, is from Miami. He wanted to go to Miami. They say he used to want to ride his bike. They say he got recruited by Manny Diaz. They told him he wasn't good enough. Mario Cristobal told him, you're not good enough. So this thing is setting up, that sideline is going to be star-studded. Every great Miami Hurricane that's in the general vicinity is going to be on that sideline. If you make belts, you need to reach out to Michael Irvin because he's going to need one no matter what happens after this game. But I trust Indiana because who's more battle-tested? They played Ohio State, Penn State. They played Oregon twice.
Alabama.
I mean, they made Alabama look like Indiana was supposed to look.
Yeah.
No one even talked about how they rent. So I trust Indiana because the people that have the most fun at any party are the people that barely got in. Now, and they're trying to do something that's never happened. They're trying to go 15-0. Curt Cignetti, if you look up the word confidence, Curt Cignetti's face is going to pop up. He's a very, very confident coach, and that's how his team plays. Does Fernando Mendoza look like Woody off of Toy Story? Yes. He does. That's exactly how he looks in the face, but he can play football, right? Give me the Indiana. I am saying this. Give me the Indiana Hoosiers to win it all in football of all things. I trust Indiana, even though I respect what Cristobal and Carson Beck and company are doing down there in Miami.
I almost feel like Indiana's going to win big. Like, it's not even going to be a close game. Like, but I don't know. Miami's defense, it is a little different than anything.
It is
the defensive front. So I'm really curious about it. I probably will check in and just kind of see what's going on, even though I think I have, matter of fact, I think I have a late A&T game. It's like a 9:00 tip-off on that day. So I don't know if I can watch them both at the same time or do both at the same time or what. But Miami, Indiana, that's Monday. We'll be asking all of our guests throughout this week their thoughts on that game as we get closer and closer to it. Well, it's time for us to get out of here, though. Shout out to Conor Oneill. Shout out to RL Bynum for stopping by to talk ACC hoops. Shout out to Ryan Smith and Ben Troupe for stopping by to talk NFL football. And again, go check them out on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. Keep Pounding Podcast Network. Ryan also hosts Inside the Vault each week, where he interviews beat writers, athletes, coaches, and more, dealing with the Carolina Panthers. And of course, winning the division is a Around the NFL weekly pod that they have over there, just been going strong for over a year. So definitely go over there and check them out over at Winning the Division. That's on the Fan First Sports Network, and that's carried on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. We are out of here. Tomorrow we will be back with another brand new episode. Tomorrow, who do we have in here tomorrow? Tomorrow we got Ryan Stone. He'll be in the house. He'll talk a little bit more about this college football matchup between Miami and Indiana. We've got What's Up, Doug, and we also have another content creator, another Panther content creator that's going to be on with this tomorrow, as well as we start getting into the off season for the Panthers in terms of what they need to do, holes and whatnot, and what they needed to fix in the draft and free agency and everything else. So we'll definitely have that as well for you tomorrow. So we will see you then on a brand new edition of the Desmond Johnson Show.